Before we get into today's episode, I want to ask you a quick favour. If you're getting value from any of our podcasts, and I genuinely hope you are, could you take just 30 seconds right now and leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify? It sounds like a small thing, but a rating would make a huge difference, and it'll take less time than pouring a cup of coffee. G'day, welcome back to the AgriCoach Wealth and Wisdom Podcast. My name's Ben Law and I'm the Financial Bloke, back with another mini episode. A little while back, Dana White, the UFC boss, one of the most successful sport promoters in the world, said one thing that absolutely broke the internet. When he was asked about a young man that was having some troubles, he said, "What advice have you got for him?" And he said just simply, "Be a man." And he got hammered for it. Social media lit up. People were absolutely outraged. And look, I kind of get it. On the surface, those three words can sound a bit dismissive, a bit tone deaf, exactly the kind of thing that sends young blokes the wrong message when they're genuinely struggling. But here's the thing. I sat with it for a while, and I reckon something important got completely lost in the noise. Because I don't think Dana White was telling men to suffer in silence. I think he was saying something that young men, particularly young men about to step out into the world, desperately need to hear. And that's what this episode is about. So let me paint you a picture. Think about a young bull let out of the yards for the very first time. He doesn't know the paddock. He doesn't know where the water is, where the feed is, where the boundaries are. The world is suddenly a lot bigger than everything he's ever known before, and nothing about it feels familiar or comfortable. He could stand at the gate and bellow about it, but he doesn't. He puts his head down, starts walking, and figures it out. Not because it's easy, but because that's what he was built to do. Now here's where I want to speak directly to the young blokes listening. If you're in your late teens, your 20s, or even your 30s, maybe just starting out or just finding your feet, life's hard. I'm not going to dress it up. And it can feel overwhelming, unfair, and like everyone else has got it more figured out than you do. And for some, this is real. But here's the part that won't help you. Complaining about it. Being envious of what someone else has. Sitting on the gate, bellowing instead of walking into the paddock. Look around at all the blokes who have built something. A business, a farm, a family worth being proud of. I guarantee you, not one of them got there by waiting for the world to make it easier. They got there by deciding what they wanted, working out a rough plan, and surrounding themselves with people who were already who they wanted to become. That's it. That's the formula. It's not complicated. It's just hard. And here's the thing. Hard is okay. Hard is actually where grit gets built. And grit is the ability to keep going when there's no guarantee it's going to work. It's probably the single greatest predictor of success I've ever seen. More than talent, more than intelligence, more than who your family is or what hand you were dealt. So here's the part I need to say clearly. There's a difference, a really important difference between everyday discomfort and genuine struggle. And knowing which one you're dealing with is actually what being a man is all about. A weak man can't tell them apart. He either toughs out everything alone until he breaks, or he complains about everything and does nothing. A strong man knows when to back himself, when to get on with it. And he knows when something is genuinely wrong and it's time to ask for help, speak to someone and get it sorted. There's no weakness in that. There's enormous strength in that. So if you're struggling, really struggling, speak up, ask for help. That's not the opposite of being a man. That's part of it. But if you're okay, if what you're actually facing is just the discomfort of a big paddock and an unfamiliar run, then put your head down and walk. Think about the men who built this country, your father, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, the blokes who carved out farms out of raw scrub, who went off to war at 18 years old, who were faced with droughts and debt and hard country and kept going anyway. Not because they were superhuman, but because they had grit. They didn't have a roadmap. They had a direction and a decision, and they went. Remember, you come from that, and you're made of exactly the same stuff if you decide to tap into it. So here's where I'm going to leave you. You're young, you're healthy, you've got your whole life ahead of you, and more opportunity than any generation that came before you. I want you to work out what you want. Make a rough plan, even if it's a rough one, and surround yourself with people who are already who you want to become. And ask for help when you genuinely need it. And when you're okay, when it's just hard and uncomfortable and unfamiliar, stop making excuses and be a man. Get on with it, because that's what built this country, and it's what will build whatever you want to build in your life. So if this is a message you know someone out there needs to hear, make sure you share it with them. And until next time, I'm Ben Law, I'm the financial bloke, and remember, it's more important who you are than what you've got. I'll see you next time. The number one reason succession plans fail and family relationships are permanently damaged is a breakdown in communication. Because when families don't know how to have the hard conversations, trust erodes, resentment builds, and silence does the damage. The families who preserve wealth and protect relationships make succession look easy because they don't just focus on structure and strategies. They build the communication skills to make clear decisions, manage emotions, and protect trust before the pressure hits. That's why I use world-class communication expert Katie Godden in our high-performing families community. Katie's communication training program, Grassroots Communication, teaches the exact skills top families in ag use to increase trust, increase family alignment, and strengthen long-term relationships. If you want to get ahead of the game, head on over to katiegodden.com/grassroots and use the code AGRICOACH for 15% off. Because the conversations you avoid today create the problems you inherit tomorrow.